28 miles. That is the distance between a perfect World Cup match day and a $140 Uber nightmare that will haunt your bank account. In June 2026, Route 1 in Foxboro stops being a highway and becomes a public demonstration of poor life choices, brake lights, and emotional collapse. If you did not buy that train ticket in advance, you are volunteering to watch your time and money evaporate in real time. Gillette Stadium is technically part of the Boston system, but logistically it is a remote island that swallows unprepared fans like an overfilled fish tank. Here is how you survive it. The logistics. Take the train. Gillette has something most World Cup venues do not: a train option that actually works. From South Station, MBTA, World Cup service runs directly to the stadium for about $20 round trip. The ride takes around 75 minutes, but it saves you from the ritual quality of Gillette's parking lots, where cars sit motionless for 45 minutes after the whistle. Buy your ticket before match day. Watching someone miss the final pre-match train is like watching their investments vanish in real time. If you miss it, you are at the mercy of surge pricing, where a $40 ride can easily hit $140, because everyone opened the app at the same wrong moment. Accommodation. Stay in Boston. Do not stay in Foxboro. Unless your ideal vacation is a chain hotel next to a gas station, stay in Boston's Back Bay, Seaport, or Cambridge. You will pay between $250 and $450 during tournament weeks, but it is worth it to be back in an actual city eating seafood at midnight instead of being stranded near a highway. The stadium experience. Gillette opened in 2002 and still feels like a physical sports venue, not a giant airport. The bowl is tight and steep, which means the noise does not float away. It bounces. However, Massachusetts weather is a factor. If the wind comes off the Atlantic, you will need layers, because by the 70th minute, your body will start negotiating with you. They always do. Leaving Gillette after a big event has a ritual quality. Nobody moves for 30 or 45 minutes, yet everyone inches forward 2 feet at a time like collective optimism might fix traffic. It never does. Take the train. This is one of the easier stadium transport decisions in the whole tournament. Stay in Boston while you are at it. Foxboro is not where you want to be unless your ideal vacation involves chain hotels beside multi-lane roads and dinner across from a gas station. A few hotels exist near the stadium, technically. Prices spike during tournament weeks anyway, and the atmosphere is more business trip gone slightly sideways than World Cup destination. Boston gives you an actual city around the match. Back Bay has the classic brownstone look people picture when they think of Boston. Seaport feels newer, cleaner, expensive in a way that looks almost intentional. South End has better restaurants than it probably needs. Cambridge is quieter and a bit cheaper. Students, bookstores, cafes, people who somehow make carrying a tote bag look like an academic statement. Rates during tournament weeks probably land between $250 and $450 depending on where you stay and how close kickoff gets. Still worth it. Because after the match, you are not stranded near the stadium. You are back in Boston eating seafood at midnight with strangers at the next table, replaying goals on your phone. Getting into Gillette is almost suspiciously easy. You step off the train and the stadium is just there. No maze, no pedestrian bridge to nowhere, no shuttle buses, no parking structure designed by someone who genuinely dislikes people. 5-minute walk, maybe less. My first time, I honestly thought I was missing a step. Stadiums usually make you earn them somehow. Gillette just appears in front of you. It opened in 2002, and you can feel that era immediately. Modern enough to function well. Old enough to still feel physical. Newer stadiums sometimes feel like giant airports with football fields attached. Gillette still feels like a sports venue. The bowl is tight, steep lower sections. Upper deck leaning forward over the pitch. People sit close to the action, and that closeness changes how everything sounds. Crowd noise does not float upward and disappear. It bounces. New England sports crowds run on a different rhythm than Southern or Latin American crowds. Not constantly loud. Observational. Almost analytical. Quiet for stretches. then suddenly explosive over something small, a hard tackle, a missed chance. A referee call that 30,000 people simultaneously decide was criminal. When it goes off fast. The upper deck roof traps some of that sound, but the north end stays exposed. Worth knowing if weather turns, which in Massachusetts is never fully off the table. People from outside New England underestimate this constantly. Late May and June can be genuinely beautiful here. 68 degrees, clear sky. Perfect sunset over the stadium. Or freezing rain arrives sideways because the Atlantic decided everyone needed character development. Bring layers. Not as a generic travel tip. Bring them because around the 70th minute, after sitting still in cold wind for 2 hours, your body starts negotiating with you. Ticket prices reflect the World Cup reality now. Upper corners around $180 if you are lucky. High enough that players look slightly theoretical, but the atmosphere still works. Mid-level sidelines usually sit around $300 to $450. Probably the sweet spot overall. Full view of the pitch. No binoculars required. Lower bowl sidelines can go anywhere from $550 to $800 or higher depending on the matchup. But that is where football starts sounding different. You hear tackles, hear players calling to each other, hear the crowd react half a second after contact happens. That gap between action and noise is weirdly addictive once you pick up on it. Club seating sits between levels with indoor lounges, bars, climate-controlled concourses, and actual shelter from whatever New England is doing outside. If rain enters the forecast, it stops feeling like a luxury upgrade and starts feeling like basic planning. One thing most seating maps do not mention: wind direction. North side upper sections can get brutal on cold evenings. Same ticket price, completely different experience. South side upper deck, especially sections 301 through 307, stays under the roofline and dodges most of the direct wind exposure. Tiny logistical note that becomes very relevant after sunset. Food prices are exactly as painful as expected. Beer runs $14. Craft beer hits $17 because hops are apparently luxury commodities now. Burger around $16. Hot dog close to $9. Spend $40 to $60 without really trying. Most of it is standard stadium food, but the clam chowder bread bowl keeps coming up for a reason. Get it. I skipped it my first visit because I figured it was regional pride getting out of hand. It was not. Concourses fill up fast before kickoff. Move earlier than instinct tells you. 15 minutes before the match, lines double in size all at once like someone triggered an alarm nobody else heard. Self-service holds up well during the game. After the final whistle, 65,000 people simultaneously try to upload videos, call ride shares, send voice notes, and check train schedules. The network folds almost immediately. Download what you need before kickoff. Gillette is not flashy. That is probably why it works. No massive roof demanding your attention. No futuristic exterior trying to become an Instagram landmark. The focus stays on the field. For a World Cup match, that is enough. 7 games happen here during the tournament, including knockout rounds. And once the crowd settles and the game starts moving, the stadium gets louder, tighter, and more intense than most people who know it only from television probably expect. You leave remembering the football, not the branding, not the entertainment district, not whatever sponsored experience was outside Gate C. The match, which is the whole point. So, dress for rain, plan for cold, take the train. Everything else falls into place. 6 hours south, another stadium waits in a city that approaches sports with the emotional stability of a prison riot. Different crowd, different energy, a different relationship with opposing fans entirely. South Philadelphia does not ease anybody into anything. Gillette and Lincoln. Financial Field are not the same experience. One feels calculated, the other feels confrontational before kickoff even starts.